Listen, I got my coffee,
I
Angela.
Yes,
Okay.
coffee time.
There's actually there's a little bit of wine in here, but that's okay. That's sort of like coffee. I never drink, but
In an interview with me, it's a good idea to drink. I should make it a requirement. Maybe it's not coffee time with Andrea. Maybe
it's
it's like drunk history, right?
hey, there you go.
I'm so excited. I can't believe you did this with me. This is so much fun for me
Yeah.
because
Thanks for asking me.
thank you for coming.
Hmm,
I know that you moved here from Winnipeg and you were a paramedic and then you got into the movie industry, but
that's
I
right.
want to go back further.
Hmm.
Your family came to Canada. Can I ask when
Yeah.
and why?
Oh, my mom came from El Salvador in the 80s because of a civil war that was
Oh,
going on. That was, perpetuated by the United States
yeah.
and their funding of guerrilla armies, to take over what they perceived as communista governments.
So your mom came in the 80s. Did your mom and dad meet in Canada?
They met in Canada, yeah. Dad he was stuck in Nicaragua, and
Yeah.
he was stuck in the civil war over there as well. What happened in El Salvador spilled over until Nicaragua. My dad was involved with the army out there with his high school mates, and he got out of that, and he came to the United States, and then he migrated to Canada, and he met my mom in an English
So
class.
that's good. I'm glad they came to Canada because then I got to meet my good friend Virgo. Are you still going by the name Virgo or are you changing it up?
No, Virgo is my artista name. That's my name my alter ego, as they say in Latin, right?
You're not afraid to be unique and you're also very creative. So the transition from being a paramedic
Oh,
to entering the movie industry, what was
yeah.
that like for you and what are your highlights of that transition?
Well, I studied as a medic at Red River College in 2009. I was
Ooh.
19 years old. And at that time, actually, I was discovering myself, and I discovered Buddhism and I discovered film. I always had film in mind. That was always my understanding of life as a kid.
Like I thought you were a paramedic and then you just sort of decided to change industries, but it was like a passion from a young
Oh,
age.
yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
made
Ever
what made it
since.
a passion?
You know what? As a kid growing up, my dad would always take my mom, my sister. He'd
Yeah.
always take us to the movies and watch movies, and it was always an
Oh,
adventure to walk, in the '90s on the streets with your dad, and you feel protected, and you're walking, and you see crazy shit, go down in front of your eyes, car crashes, people getting hit. I've seen Native guys tackled by police.
like wait,
I've
just wait a second. This is not the movie. This is like on your way to the movie?
This is just on the way to the movies,
Hang
multiple
on, where
trips.
wait, I thought you were born in Canada. Where
Oh
were
yeah, yeah. I'm born in Canada, in Winnipeg, baby, in Winnipeg, Manitoba,
Oh
204.
yeah, Winnipeg is crazy.
Yeah, we're talking like the most populous Native community across Canada.
True.
Also, the most racist too. In 2015, a Maclean's article came out saying that it was the most racist, and
Yeah.
I happen to agree because I've sat in those university classes, and some of those students at that time, it was very harsh what they were saying.
But I don't understand. So that's why there's violence because of the racism, and you're walking down the street to the movie theater,
Yeah.
and there's car crashes, and there's violence, and you're just kind of walking. Like how? Like what would
Well,
have
yeah,
happened?
because I'm with my dad. I feel like he's like a superhero. I always knew that he was involved in the military. I always understood that about him growing up, that he was involved. And he was a slender man. Like, he ran every day. He played with us basketball. He'd be playing basketball. He was those Latino guys on the street. Once
Oh,
in a while, he'd come out and play basketball with you guys shirtless, sweaty.
oh,
And you're surprised he's got moves. Like, because everyone's
that's
watching
hot.
basketball at the time. Like, basketball's the hottest thing.
Did you play
And watch.
basketball?
I don't play basketball. I do running and I like beach volleyball. Uh, Anything that has a soft surface, I guess you could say. I know you do volleyball as well. I mean,
Yeah,
you have a history with that,
I
right?
have a little history with volleyball.
Yeah,
But this
got
is
in
what
that movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
you came from Winnipeg to Vancouver when? Because that was really the start of your just really getting into it, right?
Well, no, I mean, I was doing it I would say in high school. Actually, I was filming with my high school friends. Like, we would make movies in high school for
Just
our
for fun.
projects. And well,
Oh,
my best friends, I mean, I call them my best friends back home because we used to hang out together, me and a Paraguayan guy and my buddy Matt Doherty, and we'd hang out and we'd play video games and after school, and what's going on in Final Fantasy 7? Can we revive Ares? Can we get Zack?
Were
It's
you
all I
really?
thought about. I would say even at school, I'm thinking about video games. And when I would have to write assignments, I
Yeah.
would rip stories from the video games and rework them so that they would involve like some Canadian twist in there.
Yeah.
It was just me taking
Did
the
it help you with
archetypes.
your storylines for movies and things that you like playing the video games? Because these are role play games. Or
Yeah, they got
yeah,
story. They're story rich.
they're
It's like a
totally.
novel. You're reading a novel on the screen, and it's a
Yeah.
virtual novel, and you're going through it, and you pick up some weapons, you beat some people. I mean, you get
So
into some cool stuff.
so what made you go more to film than maybe developing video games?
My first memory about a movie, thinking about a movie,
Yeah.
happened when I was in downtown, about 5, 6 years old. Saw this poster for a movie. I have like a flashing image of Bruce Willis. I have a flashing image of me questioning this character, this man. How come I've seen him in another movie where he's died, and why is he here now?
That's such a great story. And then what happened? Do you remember what happened with that?
So, that was my first investigation into movie world, into like what
Yeah.
this medium is, like what is this thing? And my dad was always watching movies, always watching movies. The TV was on all the time with movies. One time we were watching the Antonio Banderas movie. There's a sex scene with Selma Hayek and Antonio Banderas, and they're getting it
Oh.
on, and my dad had to stand up and cover the TV because it was
Oh,
too much. But all the violence we could watch, all that shit we can watch, you
I
know?
don't understand that either, right?
Yeah.
One thing I notice about you is, see, you just have this beautiful, happy energy about you. And I've never seen you really sad.
Um, you know what? I try and keep that to myself, I guess. What I do keep sad, like I work on myself, right?
Yeah.
And I do it privately. I don't really showboat like, I'm going through this or I'm going through that. Usually I like to get the work done, whatever things I feel like habits I have to change. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna like tell you I need to change them and oh my word, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
actually have a community for that. Like I have a Buddhist sangha that I do that with, and
Oh.
that's sort of the people that I spill my details to. And
I want to get back to what your goals are then in life right now, or do you have any, or do you just kind of go with the flow?
no,
Really?
you know what? I've always had a goal to create art. I mean, that's always been my goal. First person I saw do art was my brother, and he would draw fantastic drawings, dragons and robots. So it takes a while process of elimination after what you kind of like, what stimulates you and what kind
Yeah.
of makes you passionate. And quote from Martin Scorsese, I love this quote, and I
Okay.
had to bring it up. So it's Martin Scorsese says, he's paraphrasing, the only thing that I care about in this world are two
Mhm.
things: movies and religion. That's it.
Okay. Think you can make a difference in the world with any movies that you might create, or is it more just being artistic and just expressing that?
No, you know what? I think any mature artist has to have a social message in their work, in their
Okay.
content. That's how you make it timeless. And
Yeah.
so for me, there's always got to be some social message. So I just finished the feature
I'd like to know
like
about
a year,
it.
2 years ago, and it's in post production. We're just finishing up the sound right now. That's just getting its last tweaks. And
Okay.
I got a great graphic designer to do it, the poster.
Yeah.
And so um, and I hope to drop it this year, with the lockdown and everything. Definitely online, it'll be flowing. So it'll be going there. But
How do you
um,
do it when you're an independent filmmaker? How do you afford to make your art?
I reinvest in myself. I mean, that's really it. Like I get what I earn and I put it back into other artists. For me, it's I have that memory of Leonardo da Vinci and how he would get paid by the church to do his art, but he wasn't really focused on going to church. He was more focused about carving up dead bodies, researching for his papers,
Carving up dead
drawing.
bodies. That's just what he's saying. It just made him sound like a psycho for a second.
Well, I mean, listen, those are the times. That's the situation you're dealing with.
Hang on. You were studying like full time
Oh
in
yeah,
school
yeah.
and doing extra research in history.
Oh yeah, on the bus ride to school. Yeah, an hour of reading there and back. Oh yes.
See, bus rides are good for that. There's people who don't take the bus.
Listen, there wasn't like a potential that there could be sick people on the bus when I was reading.
No.
This, I'll tell you this. This is not the best moments of my life, but definitely in the 2 weeks when everything was shut down
Hmm.
and I was, put on EI, right, for
Yeah.
for the film industry being shut down,
Yep.
and like my head was in a tizzy. My head was like fogged up, right,
Oh.
and I was just trying to understand what the hell was going on. And
Mhm.
I'll just tell you the Buddhist perspective.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting.
The Buddhists suggest that when the three poisons
Yeah.
of anger, greed, and foolishness or ignorance, so when the three poisons manifest in the mind so heavily, so concentrated, when you're angry,
Mm.
that the worldwide circumstance, the worldwide consequence of anger
Yeah.
is warfare. That leads into greed. People's
Okay.
attachment to material things, to things external that they believe will give them eternal happiness when
Right. Which is more and more common in our society.
it's more and more common. We don't take time to reflect. We don't take time to look inside ourselves because we're constantly looking outside and seeing what we can get on the outside all the time.
True. How does that affect the world in your belief system then?
So, with so much greed in the mind, the world consequence is famine, is people
Oh,
starving,
yes,
is people not having sufficient
of
needs
course.
fulfilled.
You feel that the flow of this will, things will happen as a consequence of too much greed. Is that sort of
Too
where
much
you're?
greed, there's famine
Yeah.
worldwide, right? And so the last poison, which is foolishness or ignorance or stupidity, another
Yeah.
synonym for it,
Yeah.
the worldwide consequence for that is pestilence, is
Yeah.
disease, is pandemics, is exactly what we're going through right now.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's dig into that actually, because the first two I totally understood your explanation for that. Like it just, regardless of spiritual beliefs, that
Right.
seems like a logical consequence
Of
because
course.
you're just speaking scientifically.
Yeah.
But foolishness. So can you expand on what that foolishness is?
Well, foolishness is ignorance to the functions of life. Because
Okay.
life on a scientific level, let's just talk science,
Yeah.
life on a natural level is here to do two things. The universe is here to do two things.
Yeah.
It's here to give us life, first of all,
Sure. Yeah.
give birth to life,
Yeah.
and also offer us knowledge. And those knowledges we gain through, again, the objects around us, which is
Yeah.
okay. I mean, it's okay at
Good.
times to have desires, of course. You know, it's okay to, your body is constantly trying to remain in a state of homeostasis. It's trying to balance all the chemicals in the body. And
Yeah.
there are times where you need water. There are times where you need food. There are times where you need things to develop sustenance. Of course, there are times where you need wine.
Cheers.
You just,
Mhm.
supposedly it helps the liver. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I just made that up, but
I,
I would imagine so. And so, but yeah. So it's okay. So, but on top of that, so okay. So ignorance to. So that's what the universe does, right?
thinking like ignorance to the environment. Like you think that that was something, or
Yes, of
because
course.
that's
Because the other thing is that fundamentally speaking, we are one with the universe. We're one with nature.
of
And
course.
this is unquestionable. This is not even spiritual anymore. This is
No.
totally scientific. It's totally rational.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Buddhism has always maintained that belief that our self is in a relationship with the universe.
I wanted actually this movie that you just made.
Yeah.
What's it called? What's it about?
So it's called Ronnie's Quest and the Search for Victoria's Treasure. That's the name. And it's about three girls. Actually, one's a transgender, transitioning, but a hood rat,
Okay.
and a depressed girl who wants to kill herself, and a transitioning transgender. And they're all on a road trip with a
Oh,
map attempting to find the X on this map. And then we get like the villain story, which is counter to what's going on. So there's
okay.
gangs, there's Sonia Cleopatra, who is the female entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
And I dropped the trailer for it. And so she's
Yeah.
there, played by Leah Beaudry, and she's amazing. She's phenomenal. We shot 2 days, one in a mansion in North Vancouver and another in the Britannia Mines. Imagine that.
So
Britannia motherfucking Mines.
This is
Got it right
exciting.
there using the old mill, and we got a history lesson about the old mill, and then we went into the mine itself and shot there. And for the big ender, for the big like climax, you know, you need a
I
big
did see your
location.
trailer. I loved your trailer.
Oh yeah, and
What do you think needs to change in the movie industry? Like if you could make a difference.
you know, I just think it's access. I think it's just access to different voices and different people.
You know what, my friend?
Mm,
You are an inspiration.
mm.
I am so glad that you joined me for this random coffee time. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining me.
I got my little mug. Hey, Miss Adams, it was a pleasure. I hope you have some future coffee talks that
Yeah.
are in a parallel mindset, you know, in some other cross dimensional universe. And and it's
So
happening
it
right
should
now.
be.
Actually, it's going on right now, baby. It's going on right now.
I I'm with you. I'm with you. This is great.
Yeah.
Virgo Velasquez, my
Sí,
friend,
señorita. Mhm.
independent movie maker,
Yes.
and inspiration.
Hey, that's what
Cheers.
we all are. There you go.